Hey guys, Elite Legionarii here, bringing you a 2 versus 2 for medieval 2 total war on the grassy plains map. I'll be joining Lavernicus, who will of course be using Spain, and I'll be using the Holy Roman Empire, which is my favourite faction. So we're both using our favourite factions, and we'll be facing two eastern factions, the Turks and the Egyptians. And both of these guys were exceptionally good players. We got creamed by them a lot when we fought them, so this is going to be really tough. So, and they're really smart players. And basically, what made them so hard to defeat was their extensive use of Nafatoons, which are incredibly deadly. It gives the eastern factions an extremely powerful ability to cause a mass rout if used correctly. They were saying that you couldn't win with the eastern factions without them. I disagree. It is harder. They're not as strong as the western factions overall, but that doesn't make it impossible to win with them, particularly the Moors. The Moors can't even use Nafatoons, and I think the Moors are still very strong though, because they field some very strong cavalry and infantry units, so they're actually quite capable. But anyway, I'm the Holy Roman Empire, which I think I said. I have 2 peasants on my screen, which is standard, and I believe I have 5 units of dismounted feudal knights and 3 units of dismounted imperial knights. 4 units of puppies crossbowmen, 4 units of Teutonic knights, and 2 units of mounted crossbowmen. I was going with a pretty serious force because, as I said, these guys were really good. Really good. Me and Lavernicus really struggled against them, and I mean struggled. I don't mean to sound arrogant when I say this, but when me and Lavernicus team up, we generally do win. Doesn't mean we never win, always win. Like, we do lose from time to time, but it's not that common for us because I think we're both pretty decent at the game. I'm not trying to sound arrogant or cocky here. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm trying to sound like. But we work together so well. But these two honestly were really dangerous and really tough. So we had a hard time of it. So anyway, looks like Lavernicus has got 5 units of puppies crossbowmen. So we've got an excellent missile force between the two of us. He's got, let's see, sword and buckler men there. He's got, let's see, I think he's got 6 chivalric knights, 2 sword and buckler men, and not 6 chivalric knights, 6 dismounted conquistadors, 1 dismounted chivalric knight, and 1 swordsman. So usually the Lavernicus plays a mixed bag. This time he's gone all conquistadors, and for his cavalry you can see all chivalric knights because they're probably, and 1 conquistador. He's gone with a pretty hard army there, pretty tough army, so as you can see that's a pretty good army on his part. So I like this choice by the Turks. At the time I never really thought about it, but these Ottoman infantry are actually better archers in my opinion than the Janissary archers. The Janissary archers have more attack, but these guys have got about 5 more defence, or 4 more defence, so they can take a lot more of a beating. So in a protracted missile duel, they're actually better. So he has, looks like he's got 5 of those. I think they've got 17 defence. They've got a lot of defence, so they are hard to beat. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Janissary heavy infantry, so I have an infantry advantage, although these guys are still going to be a nuisance to get rid of, and if I don't watch those Nafatoons they will rout me. So he's got a bodyguard, 2 Kapakulu, and 3 Aelan light cavalry. Now they may be light cavalry, but you should never underestimate Aelan light cavalry. That's a really good cavalry unit, can do a lot of damage. Over here, Ghost, because I forgot to tell you the names, it's Libertarian 1776 is the Turkish player, and Ghost 2D4 is the Egyptian player. And he's a brave man using Egypt because it is a weak faction overall. It's the weakest faction in the game in my opinion. Perhaps only the Papal States could be another weak one. He's got 4 desert archers, and they're getting pretty cleaned out by Lavernicus' missile units. I've definitely got the harder opponent in terms of missile units. He's got 4 units of Tabarderia. It's a 2-handed axe unit. It's pretty good amongst 2-handed units, but it is under the 2-handed unit glitch fault, so as long as Lavernicus plays his cards right, he had no problems dealing with those. He also has 2 units of halberd militia, but he does have an enormous force of 4 Nafatoons, and 4 Nafatoons is absolutely vicious, and I mean vicious. that'll cause huge rout problems, but Lavernicus really has to make sure that they get killed. And the real threat, probably the other major threat, is these Royal Mamluks. These are an extremely good cavalry unit. This is where Egypt is good. And I do succeed in killing the Turkish general. Oops, sorry, it started spinning then. So he's he's a bodyguard and 4 Royal Mamluks. So over here, I was trying to free up some of Lavernicus' missile units here, so I'm going to actually sacrifice this unit of mounted crossbowmen. Now, I thought it would beat these camel raiders in melee fighting, but then again it is a camel, so it's probably going to cause some panic amongst my men. So over here, he did make a hit and run on some of my peasants there, but that's okay. That's not too bad a deal. I got my other crossbowman here into formation here. I'm just trying to basically bully this unit here, but it's not really working. These guys are having extremely lot of success against my Puppies crossbowmen. I've never seen a standard archer unit perform so well against them. But these guys do have pretty much equal defense, so they can take just as much of a beating. It's because they've got such high defense. So whenever I play as the Turks in future, I'll be probably more inclined to use these Ottoman infantry. I think they're going to prove a lot better. So I'm trying to get my guys forward here. He did, I think, hit some of my Puppies crossbowmen here. This unit here is only down to 14, so I think his cav did do a lot of damage, but it did cost him his general. But Lavernicus does have a unit over here getting some assists, because his opponent's missile units are far less of a threat than mine, although for some reason even Lavernicus is having trouble with them, so I don't know what was going on there, but our Puppies crossbowmen were not performing nearly as well as they usually do. Now, when I say that, I mean they're a lot better. So now my opponent rushes forward here, so me and him are going to be enclosed in battle very soon. As I said, these guys were just really challenging. It was so much fun to challenge some guys that were so deadly. So here I'm going to use my peasants to try and snag up some of his cav. Although I make a bit of a blunder here, and he does get a really good charge on my feudal knights, and that was not good. But Lavernicus has got a cav unit into there to help, and I'm sending one of my Teutonic Knights in to assist. So if I can kill that cav unit, Capiculu unit, that's quite good. And it does get routed, so that's great. Now, I didn't lose too bad in numbers. I probably only lost about 17 men, which isn't too bad, admittedly, for an infantry unit like that. So now the Egyptian player's gone forward here. So over here I see one of the Aeolian Light Cav. I want to get rid of them now. I charge his archers here, although he sends his Capiculu unit in, but his archers are now completely unusable, and my guys are good in melee fighting because they use a mace, although so do the Capiculu, but they're not as good as Teutonic Knights. At this stage I'm going to rush him, and now I'm focusing my missile fire on these Nafatoons, because I don't want to be mass routed. Lavernicus doesn't do that. He does charge his cav in here really hastily, I think, before he gets his infantry engaged. And the problem for him is he does nothing to deal with these Nafatoons. So his forces are going to get constantly hammered by those Nafatoons, and that's going to be absolutely lethal for him. For me, I get my missile units up, and they're going to start focusing completely on the Nafatoons and nothing else. And I'm not going to engage until I've weakened those Nafatoons down enough that I'm confident I can, cause plenty of damage. As you can see, cavalry-wise, the fight's gone pretty well my way for the most part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run interference, try and get rid of some of these Nafatoons, hit some of the backs of these Janissary heavy infantry before I engage. But as you can see, Lavernicus has just done nothing to get rid of these 4 units of Nafatoons, and because there's 4 of them, even his conquistadors with all their might will not be able to defeat these much weaker infantry units, because they're just going to be panicking so badly. So my opponent does a pretty good job with his cav units here. Now I do get rid of some of the Nafatoons. I'm working on it as best as I can. Got to get rid of them. But he does use a good job of supporting his guys there. And I want to really desperately avoid the Nafatoons. And over here I see this unit of Nafatoons has been withered down to 5, so I'm going to move my men over to this side so as to fight on this side away from his other Nafatoons. Over here I'm just trying to keep his Nafatoons out of it, because I know that my infantry can win this fight, although I do get a bad charge into my flank there, which is not good. But fortunately I left just the Imperial Knights into the reserve so I can surround them and stop them getting away. As you can see, I've already routed some units over here, and I'm making pretty quick work of this infantry. I get a nice cav charge in the flank here, but unfortunately Lavernicus, because he did nothing to deal with those Nafatoons, was completely routed. So I'm going to be outflanked here by these Egyptian infantry units that are still in pretty good numbers. So I'm confident had I had more time without having to try and hold off the Egyptian player, I could have defeated the Turkish player. I'm confident I could have. As you can see, I busted up most of his line here, but a few of his cav units have remained, and that is causing some serious problems. But I have dealt with most of his other units out here, and I did destroy his infantry line. As you can see, I would have dealt with his cav. I still have missile units roaming around, doing some damage, and I'm doing okay against these Egyptian units. But had I had more time, I think I could have beaten their Turkish player, because as you can see, I've more or less routed his army. I did lose my general just there, which was a bit of a nuisance, but at this stage I know I'm lost. And sometimes I've noticed Lavernicus is overly aggressive with his cavalry at times, attacking before he uses his infantry to pin his enemy's line. So at this stage, like I said, I'm pretty sure I would have had the Turkish player beaten, but I got stuck fighting these guys on my own. So look at all those Nefatoons there. They're more or less hitting his own troops in all honesty, but it doesn't really matter. They can afford to do that now. But we just got a bit unfortunate there, and I did the best I could. I think I did the absolute best I could. As I said, I'm pretty confident I probably could have defeated the Turkish player there eventually. I think I would have had enough. It would have been close, but I think I would have had him. But the Egyptian player got freed up, and I couldn't stop both of them by myself. But it was a great game. As I said, these guys were really deadly. I think the only major mistake that we made here was I probably allowed my cav to get too bogged down and not free up my guys fast enough, and Lavernicus didn't get rid of those enemy Nefatoons, because if he got rid of those Nefatoons, his conquistadors would have had no trouble routing that Egyptian army. But a well-earned victory by those guys. I definitely think they're better players than me and Lavernicus, to be honest. I think Lavernicus would probably agree with me on that. Sometimes we got lucky here. The first game we played against them, they just absolutely thrashed us in battle. I think it was crushing defeat, so I don't know if I saved that battle. It was just too embarrassing. But this time round, though, it was closer. As you can see the stats there, it says clear defeat there, so there's the stats. As you can see, they pretty much outperformed us. I think I just managed with my catches to get over 600 there. Lavernicus pretty close by with nearly 500. So, but they are both. Look at this Egyptian guy. He got 115 on top of his 700 there, pretty much. So he's up over 800. And this guy here, he's close enough to 800 as well. So they did outperform us. My Teutonic Knights, a couple of them pretty good. Infantry, it's only pretty even across the field. Puppy's crossbowmen did pretty good, and so nothing really stood out except a couple of the cav units, and the Puppy's crossbowmen did not too bad. My infantry, not too great, to be honest. Again, I probably didn't do enough to stop his cav. And Lavernicus let those Nefatoons survive too long, and it just mass routed his armies. So if you've got big numbers of Nefatoons arrayed against you, you've got to get rid of them, or you're going to get mass routed. You just got to get rid of them because they're so deadly. They may not even usually they won't get many casualties, but it's because they'll cause a huge chain rout that you've got to get rid of them. So clear defeat here, well-earned victory by Ghost and Libertarian. I enjoyed that one. It was a great challenge, and I would definitely classify those guys as fantastic players. Really good. So thanks for playing, you three guys. I loved that one. It was fun. May have lost, but still it was fun. And thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be bringing you some more action soon. So see you then.